Hey guys, welcome back to Resistance Chicks. We're your hosts, Leah and Michelle. It is the 5th of July, 2019, still riding the 4th of July wave.
Pretty awesome.
All weekend long. Yesterday, and we were really busy because of what we do for a living, all day long, just super busy. But I found throughout the day, and we had patriotic music playing, and we had, this playing when we could around the house, and Lee and I were in and out all day long. But so many times I paused and I was overcome with emotion, and I wanted to cry because I love our country so much. And I feel more patriotic now than I ever have in my entire life. Like, I'm a history buff, okay? Out of all the subjects in school, history was my favorite. And I think it was because I was so inspired by our founding fathers. Just learning about the Revolution, to me, was such an amazing thing. And so that's kind of what spearheaded my passion for those kinds of things. But even so, I think that, and maybe Leah, you felt the same thing, and maybe you guys are feeling the same thing as well, that we are more patriotic as a nation than we have ever been in probably like 100 years. I mean, it really feels like
base is rising, and I really think that it's like a volcano that is getting
we're
ready
so
to...
sick of being suppressed,
ready to... I got goosebumps all over me. It is the volcano that's getting ready to burst. What Donald Trump did, despite whatever recruitment, whatever, what he did to get all those people there, to get people talking about America, to get people bringing us back to America is not an evil country.
Yeah.
I will fight you tooth and nail about the truth because there's so much disinformation out there about the founding of this country. And in a minute, I'm going to play a little clip here from Steven Crowder, who absolutely is hilarious. And watching David Barton try to roll with Steven Crowder's jokes.
I thought Barton did. I've just finished the second one this morning. I've watched the first two.
He did good.
He did amazing.
I would like a lot of times I would have been like just like kind of like, what, man?
So there was a part where he gives him, and I wish I had an axe here and I don't.
Well, he's wearing these short shorts.
I know, where he gives him, I think he must have gotten too hot for his costume, and he's got his like what boxer shorts from louderwithcrowder.com on underneath. And so he must have taken his pants off. So he does the whole episode in this jacket and no pants that say Louder with Crowder on his shorts. And so at one point, they were like talking about weaponry. And Barton gives him this hatchet. Yeah. And he says, and so then Crowder says a joke like, we use this to hatch off, whatever's, my shorts or whatever. And Barton goes, yeah, whatever's left of them since, and it was just their whole banter back and forth. I just loved it. It was so fun.
Right. But our history is being rewritten. And when I talked about, I've known that since the censorship in 2016, it's been really awful. It's been really uncomfortable. We're going to talk about Tommy Robinson, who has been convicted of 3 counts. He is going to be sentenced next week, possibly going to jail. There could be something good out of it because he did serve time, so they could sentence him to time served. That would be fantastic. That would be fair, at least semi-fair. But he's facing 2 years in jail. So just keep him in your prayers.
And he's also only being given, I think, like 10. I don't know how many days. He's going on the 11th, so less than a week. To prepare, I forget how Tommy worded it in his email here, but to prepare a statement for the pre-sentencing statement, and he said that like rapists and serial killers are given like 4 weeks or 40 days or whatever to prepare this, and he's only being given like from now until the 11th, I guess is when it is, and so it's totally unheard of. It's really, really sad. So we're going to talk more about that on Sunday.
My point is that there's been a lot of suppression, but and this is what my mom has said. See, we have felt this kind of thing happening and churning for years. And the one thing my mom always said was, this is going to be a non-violent revolution.
Yeah. God
is doing this. God is moving on the hearts of the people, because our government, the cool thing about it, the reason we celebrate 1776 is because they gave us our Constitution, and as Michelle pointed out, that somebody else said, they gave us something amazing, a self-correcting government. I got goosebumps.
It was a guy on Fox News about the Betsy Ross thing.
Right. So what John Adams had said was that a woman came up to him and said, what kind of government do we have? A democracy? or theocracy or monarchy. What do we got? And he said, we're giving you a republic if you can keep it.
Right.
Okay, because a republic can only be sustained when people are religious and moral within themselves,
right.
because you have so many freedoms. You have the freedom. I have goosebumps all over me. You have the freedom to bear arms.
Yeah.
Right? But when you're a Christian and you're moral, you're not going to go shooting people.
Well, and I really highly encourage you guys to watch the Crowder thing. But Barton said something really awesome, was that you have these rights, but you also have the responsibility that goes with them.
Exactly. So you have,
and they knew that when they framed it.
You have God-given rights, but you have God-given responsibilities. And I talk about this all the times, but John Adams said that without religion and morality in this country, the Constitution will be ripped to shreds like a whale that goes through a net. Mm-hmm. Because the Constitution is designed for people who are basically going to be doing the right things. So you have a basic framework, but basically the Constitution and our Declaration and our Bill of Rights and even our state's constitutions were all designed to give people as much freedom as humanly possible so that you could live out your God-given natural rights to farm, to have your own business without somebody coming and taking it away from you, to have your own home without property taxes and things like that, so that you wouldn't need township rules to maintain your lawn, because as a good Christian, you'd maintain it. But now we have to have, so the less Christian you are, the less more, and it's Christianity. Bar none.
Right.
When listen, Christianity is turn the other cheek. Do unto those as you would want to be treated. Love the Lord your God with all your heart and soul and strength, and love your neighbor as yourself. You can have tremendous amount of freedoms when you teach children. That's why the devil gets in there to separate. You can't have religion. You can't have religion because you need to.
You're fine. Roll with it.
To control. The leftists and the devil want to control people. They don't want you to be self-correcting. They don't want you, I made a mistake. I'm going to go to Jesus and I'm going to go to that person and I'm going to make it right. No, you have to have laws. You have to have laws about, you have to have noise ordinances. You have to have lawn mowing ordinances. You have to have traffic lights. Did horses have stop signs? I don't think so. Right? So you have to have all these rules, the less religion, and I mean by religion, I mean by relationship with Jesus Christ, where you wake up every day and you try to amend your ways. These people have not read the works of like a Benjamin Franklin, who spent his life. He wrote a book on how to be a better person, how to get vices out of your life.
Yeah,
literally, right? Some guy came to him and said, I don't think I want to get married. I think I want to just take a mistroof. And Benjamin Franklin's like, no, bad idea. Okay? So our founding fathers, the reason they have to muddy them, the reason they have to destroy their reputation, the reason they have to say things like, well, they were slave owners and blah, blah, blah. 41, as Barton points out, 41 of the signers were slave owners, but almost all of them would have agreed to have it annihilated. There was only, I believe, there's only 2 or 3 colonies that wouldn't sign on to the Declaration when Jefferson put in there. One of the things he said, the King of England will not allow us to abolish slavery. That was one of the grievances. He couldn't get, I think it was 2 or 3 of the colonies to sign on, and so they actually thought that slavery would be abolished by 1808.
Yeah,
they thought it would be totally, once they got the country on their feet. Mm-hmm. Then we could begin to abolish slavery. It's sad that it took till 1865.
Well, and I'll tell you another thing that is sad.
And I'll tell you why let me just tell you why that was real quick.
Good.
A lot of people, and Barton talks about this with Stephen Crowdy, about the three-fifths clause. That is actually an abolitionist, I get goosebumps again, pro-freedom clause. Oh, the Constitution says a black man's only worth 3/5. No, and I'll tell you this 100 times. The southern states wanted to count their slaves. much like the Democrats want to count illegal immigrants, but they wanted to count their slaves to get the more people that you had in your district, the more representatives you would have.
Right.
And so,
I can guarantee you that these slave owners were not going to let their slaves
they couldn't
vote.
They couldn't vote. They weren't being represented. So the Three-Fifths Compromise was the North said, no, they're not being represented. You're not letting them vote. So the Three-Fifths Compromise cut the slave representatives down by 40%.
So if they had not done that, then the slave-owning states would have had far more power to maintain their slavery.
Exactly.
So it's it's a vicious cycle.
Three-Fifths Clause was an abolitionist clause.
So when you look at the UK, and I don't remember what year it was with William Wilberforce that they got.
It was 100 years before us. So
they got, it
wasn't quite 100 years before.
But it hadn't quite come into play because we weren't able to have, freed slaves here in 1776.
Right, yeah.
All right. And so I look at the Democrats of today and they're thinking of, well, since Thomas Jefferson and Benjamin Franklin and John Adams and, all these guys, right, couldn't get those one or two states to join with them, they're actually saying we would rather
you still be
under colonial rule and part of the United Kingdom and so forth than to have a free America.
Right.
It doesn't make any sense what they're saying because they had slavery there too.
Right. Exactly. Speaking of bad history, this Donald Trump retweeted this out. Communists burn America flag near the White House on Independence Day and near, I believe, a Secret Service member.
America was never great.
America was never great.
So then you see the MAGA person literally bare hand picking up a burning flag and picking it up off the ground. Don't let the flag touch the ground. That takes some guts. Wow.
And I love that Donald Trump tweeted that out.
There is nothing that he will not tweet out.
What a great celebration. I'm in tears and proud bringing a Navy brat. Artwork by Dinesh D'Souza.
I love that Trump tweeted that out, though, because that's hilarious to me.
I love my life.
We love you. God loves you. God bless. Remember, it's not just a conspiracy theory if it's actually the truth. Have a wonderful evening, guys.
Sweet home.
It's cold.